to Nelly's Café for our, I think it's our 7th or 8th poetry circle. Dominic, I think that's it. It's always great to have you here. My name is Oran Ryan, and on behalf of the Limerick Writers Centre, it is a pleasure to welcome you all here this evening. We hope you all enjoy yourselves. We always do. This series is called The Poetry Circle in honour of the Great Limerick Poet Desmond O Grady, who first formed and read his work in another place, also called the Poetry Circle, in the White House Bar on O Connell St. We have excellent poetry from excellent poets and excellent music from an excellent musician, and I believe he has written a song for this evening. So it's the excellent Shane Bond. Now, I am so tempted, but I'm not going to do it. Do you know why? Because Shane is our agent from the musical continuum. Bond. Shane Bond. See, I didn't do it. Okay, I don't have a bio for Shane, but let's just say he is awesome, and he is going to begin our evening. We have two poets. Where are they? We have Stanley Notte and Faye Boland. Faye will be beginning, but first we have Shane.
This is a cover called Prophecy.
Mystical and surreal sonic landscapes there. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, Faye Boland poetry has been described as a happy combination of musical lyricism and intellectual subtlety. I'm just doing an advertisement right here. Look, this is her book. It is for sale here, and you will see why you want to buy it very soon. The poem from which this collection takes its title, which is Peripheral, was the overall winner in the 2017 Hannah Greeley International Literary Awards, organised as part of the annual Sheer Scale Festival in County Roscommon. It's also from this that the present volume results as the prize on this occasion, and was for the winner to have his or her book published professionally by the manuscript publisher. So without further ado, I give you Faye Boland.
And for having me here tonight. I'm from Kerry, so Limerick is very new to me. I'm going to begin with a poem called Billa, which means a holy or sacred tree. And I lived for many years in Liverpool in the United Kingdom, and all of my friends were very interested in tarot reading, and I was always prophesied to me that I would do writing and have children, etc. But anyway, it didn't stop me asking for more tarot readings. So that's what we girls did. We just looked for a validation of what we wanted. And my friend and I once went on a trip, and we found a golden oak tree. And we were told it was one of only 3 golden oaks in the UK. I'm not sure if that is true or not. And so I wrote this poem about being with this particular girl, Billa. The acorn is my talisman. I squeeze it in the palm of my hand. Remember you rubbing a Buddha's belly as he sat cross-legged on your dressing table. The scent of incense rising like charmed snakes. Your polished nails dealt my cards, the king of wands. You prophesied print and travel, children, a king. The grey city where you wore your perfume like a filter was cold as concrete. I saw no king, heard no birdsong. Then you took me to a field, a golden oak, king of trees, leaves the colour of sunshine, stretched out its arms, ready to embrace the world, and at our feet, a four-leafed clover. The next poem I'm going to read is a war poem, and given that the anniversary of the end of World War I is approaching, I thought this might be a fitting poem to mark it. It's called Perfectly Blue, and it's after a statement made by David Lloyd George before the war began in January 1914, when he said, "Our relations with Germany are infinitely more friendly now than they have been for years. Never has the sky been more perfectly blue." Never has the sky been more perfectly blue, unsullied by angry peaks of exploding mines, low-lying clouds of mustard gas asphyxiating the air. There is yet no endless buzz of bullets, no craters gouged by exploding shells, no clap of grenades, no hammer of machine guns, no shrapnel which scatters with the sound of shattering glass, no screams as young men's limbs rip from their bodies as lives sink into mud. Thank you. The next poem I'm going to read will be much more comforting than that one. It's called Pulse. It's about a nightly phone call. Pulse. Warm as a timber fire, your bass notes travel along invisible modes, fibres at the speed of light. I am mellowed by the tempo of your speech, light, vif. My words tinkle at decrescendo. Sentences step out of the silence, waltz down the cables, tap out fibre optic pulses. The blood red of my heart, orange sparks. I'm going to throw in a light-hearted poem about weight gain. My shadow. My shadow, an unwelcome guest, sits with me at meals, encouraging me to eat for two. My shadow, amorphous, talks me out of vigorous exercise, preferring an oversized frame to slink in and out of. When I walk, it dogs my heels, slows me down. My shadow nags me with doubts as I contrive to succeed, and descending stealthily like a smog, obscures my purpose. My shadow derides my flat notes, and without an original thought of its own, resents my progress. My shadow skulks away, cuckolded when you lie with me, and thanks to your love-tinted eyes, or perhaps the lack of sunlight, I manage to shrink a size. So another miserable poem. This poem was shortlisted for the Poetry on the Lake International Poetry Prize in 2013. It's called Silver Bracelet. The jeweller and I guessed your size. A bespoke bracelet name and date of birth engraved. Polished silver, a mirror for your perfect face. On a pillow of cotton wool it lay, expectant in its box like you. The engraving immortalized your date of death. You wore it to the grave. The next poem was the winner of the Hannah Greeley International Literary Award in 2017, and it was a poem about homelessness. And once I won the competition and I had won a publishing deal, it was very easy to decide what the theme of my book would be. So the theme is displacement and belonging, and this is the poem that won the prize. Peripheral. My roof is the sky, the wind my walls. Every night it blows the same word, homeless, homeless. In winter it skins me. I hide in my hood, tuck my knees into myself, but still I burn. I am empty, on the edge of danger, a genie on a cardboard carpet. Hopeless, I dive into the bottom of a bottle, take comfort in its warm glow, see the stars shiver. This is a poem about where I live, specifically the location of my house. Home. This is for my Auntie Claire. Who knows where it is? Home is a field, stretched over red sandstone, overgrown with ferns, prickled with gorse, where my father dreamed a bungalow would sit, on which stands a peak-white mansion. I painted its fence Tudor black, varnished floorboards I mop and wax. Home is a doorstep where an aged dog dozes, rising on stiff legs at the sound of my car. A view of a clothesline where tiny trousers kick and frilly dresses swing, where trumpet-like flowers, resplendent with colour, peer in from window ledges. Home is the waltz of garlic and onions, a 6-seater table scuffed with white rings, the wail of a violin not quite in tune, the hum of a fridge while everyone sleeps. Thanks. And my daughter said that was a terribly offensive poem, totally insulting to her violin playing. I'm going to finish with a poem that I wrote for a friend in England, and she was a Native American Indian, or of Native American Indian descent, and because of the law in the UK, she was divorced. She wasn't allowed to move back to the States with her children. She had to live in England with them until they were 18. And there wasn't a day she didn't tell me that she missed the California sunshine. So I wrote this poem for her. Choctaw Girl. I stumbled upon you, a piece of driftwood, wedged on a rocky shore. Your voice wept like advancing waves. Your footsteps were the sorrowful drum of rain on sand. Your ancestors heard my forefathers fall silently as feathers. Their largesse quivered our waters, echoes in the conscious sea swish. You recognized my ancestry, saw I'd become a quisling, forfeiting my homeland. Blood brothers from the start, we wove a plait of friendship from mutual displacement. Two lost spirits searching for a settled heart. and I'm delighted to tell you that I have a very settled heart now that I'm back in Ireland writing poetry. So thank you very much. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.
So much, Faye. That was wonderful. And we have another piece of music from Shane. Take it away, Shane.
Excuse me. This is I'm going to do another acoustic piece. I wrote it for my mother. She passed away a few years ago, and this is I guess when you're I guess it starts in the crib and it ends. You don't expect. You end up beside your mother's bed, watching her sleep the last time. So, but it's really, it's actually she put up a very brave fight, and that's what this is about. It's about bravery, and it's acoustic, but it's a love song more than anything.
really does take you to places, doesn't it? Great stuff. Stanley Notte, oh good heavens, look. Stanley Notte puts his love of classic and contemporary rock music to use in a unique brand of found poetry composed from song titles. He uses the words to take you away somewhere else entirely. These pieces are attuned with many of the complications of being alive today, and there is something very therapeutic, I find, in letting the words wash over you. It's by Ed O'Dwyer, kind of a commentary on his work. Stanley Notte is an entrepreneur, MC, DJ, speaker, writer and poet whose work has appeared in the Writers Magazine, the Galway Review, Stanza's monthly Chapbook of Vale's anthologies, Cork Evening Echo, and has been featured on RedFM in Cork, Soho Radio London and Lagan Online Poetry Today, and the list goes on places that Stanley has performed and being lauded in. So without further ado, I give you Stanley Notte.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. I'm going to say it's lovely to be here again because I was here on Tuesday night at 7:15 because I thought the event was on Tuesday night, despite the fact that I shared it on Facebook at 3:30 just before I left Cork, and it clearly says Thursday the 18th of October. But it is lovely to be here. I'd like to thank Noreen for not asking me to help with the clean-up. She was in the middle of Tuesday night when I arrived. I've set an alarm there because they've asked me to do 20 minutes, and as I've just proven, I'm bad with time. So I've set it for about 15 or 16 minutes. That's not part of the performance when it goes up. So I'm going to begin with a poem, and I think everything I'm going to do tonight actually is a pieces that are written using song titles. If I start telling you how we've ended up, or I've ended up in this position, we won't have any performance, so I'll avoid that. But it's just something that I've kind of ended up doing. I'm going to start with a poem written using the song titles of the best band ever to come out of Cork, which translates into the best band that ever came out of Ireland when you're not in anywhere else. I'm afraid somebody from the Cranberries or the Brad Pitt Light Orchestra is in the audience, so we'll go with the Frankie Walters being the best band ever to come out of Cork. I recorded this in the studio about 3 years ago, and I always wanted to be a musician. I think most people do, but I have no musical talent at all. So when we recorded in the studio, the musician I was working with said to me, "Why don't you count me in?" So I went 1, 2, 3, which is incorrect because it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. But I got such a thrill out of it, and it helped me with my fragile ego more of it a little bit later on. That's how I always start the show. 1, 2, 3. Mrs. Xavier, after a Franklin Walters. I suppose falling out of love is an elegant chaos after all. And Frank's right. Talking about you isn't paradise. It's a never-ending staircase where high becomes low, 6 becomes 9, and restraint opens up landslides. But how can I exist if it's time we said goodnight? Must I learn to love myself? Forget you're the greatest? Hold on underground while the world carries on looking for America? Or should I change my way of thinking? Surrender to win. Bake us a song, cast away the idea that you would take me through this life on pathways lined with city lights, summer evenings, and miles of turquoise gardens. I suppose falling out of love is an elegant chaos after all. And Frank's right. You can't take too much notice of Humphrey when the last train home on Saturday night don't stop John and Sue making you feel guilty. Isn't it time for New York? Forget you're the greatest. Learn to love myself. Learn to love myself. Thank you. So there's a little video of that went up online this week. I'm very, very happy with it. I didn't make the video. But one of the things that's been, because I came to creativity quite late in life, and it's wonderful when you work with other people, and the video is a combination of my words, a fellow Malcolm Upcart's music, Melanie's artwork, and a friend of mine, Barry O'Shea, did the direction. Now I had a kind of a set list in my head, but that's been rudely interrupted because the man who wrote those lovely words on the back of that book, Ed O'Dwyer, is here. So I'm going to do a poem that was written using song titles of one of his favourite bands. This was published a number of years ago in the Stanza's Chapbooks, and I will tell you now there is something very dark goes on inside of me, and it was published under the title Have I Told You Lately That I Love You, which is, has a certain connotation to it. But when I was doing this poem, when I was looking through the title, there was one title that had stuck with me and I couldn't get it out of my head, and it's not in the poem, so I've retitled it. So be prepared to be thrilled. It's now called If You Found This, It's Probably Too Late. When the sun goes down, cigarette smoke and a certain romance come together to catapult fake tales of you and I in San Francisco into my fright-lined dining room, where pretty visitors, sticking mad sounds to the floor, stand next to me, and dancing shoes only you know recklessly serenade my favourite was nightmare, where my evil twin in a balaclava and knee socks pours black treacle over you and I as dangerous animals, you and I as ever deadly nettles, you and I as fireside dirt. The choice of three you and I's where you're so dark indicates this house is a circus, that the time has come to snap out of it, to break the lock on my little red book of fluorescent adolescence. But if I don't have my strange you and I's, the curtains close on a wannabe yours, dreamy days in your room, diamonds are forever. And that's too much to ask, Arabella, that's too much to ask. Because I believe in you and I, and whatever people say, my mistakes were made for you. Thank you. So we're going to get the darkness out of the way early on, and hopefully we'll lighten it a little bit. When I was talking about the Frankie Waters and recording in the studio, I mentioned my fragile ego. I've had mental illness or mental unwellness, whatever you want to call it, in my life for very long periods. I'm not going to go into the dramatics of it. But a number of years ago, having got some therapy and been quite open about it, I started to stop talking about it for, again, reasons I won't get into. And then I saw a play written by a girl about voices in her head, and I realised after the play that those of us who have been in those spaces and have an ability to talk about it, have a responsibility to talk about it, and I'm one of those people. And as much as, some people say, you can't be reading poetry or doing performances about mental health, at certain times, whether, Sunday afternoon, that kind of thing. I live in a world where I'd like to think that we can one day, and as quickly as possible, get to a point where we can have a conversation with somebody about their mental health issue, whether that be depression or whatever it is, in the same way that we have a conversation with them about the wrist they recently broke, or a heart disease they've been diagnosed with, or in today's world, even cancer is a thing that people converse about. So I believe in order to get to that point, we have to be really, really honest about what's happening in the world and why we're losing so many young people. Particularly, I know here in Limerick, they have people patrolling the bridge at the weekends to try and prevent people jumping off the bridge, and that is a tragic state for any society to live in. But if we're going to be honest, then we have to start with our own honesty. And this is my honesty about my world and what the kind of world I live in at times. It's written using Depeche Mode song titles, but it's introduced using what I believe is the best songline ever written that describes, living with that kind of issue, by Paul Simon. Hello darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk to you again. Policy of truth, after Depeche Mode. The truth is, tonight a dark trance spent the night. The truth is, this happens all the time to broken, damaged people. The truth is, I am broken, damaged, fractured. The truth is, it's no good being broken, damaged, fractured. The truth is, broken, damaged people feel free love is strange love. The truth is, fractured, damaged people are always fools to fragile tension. The truth is, broken, damaged people rush to pain. The truth is, fractured, damaged people surrender to addiction, fall into the abyss. The truth is, broken, damaged people, God, it would go on, wouldn't it? 1 second. Practicing this all the way up. The truth is, fractured, damaged people, for broken, damaged people, choosing the dark road is the price of love. The truth is, choosing the dark road is a pain that I'm used to and suffer well. The truth is, broken, damaged people always rebirth stories of old. The truth is, addiction tears you apart. The truth is, sometimes, in the dead of night, I wish I were dead. The truth is, I promise you, I will hold on. The truth is, the child inside is miles away, gone, lost. The truth is all I ever wanted was to shake the disease. The truth is I just can't get enough of endless excess and compulsion. The truth is I'm useless. A horror story, gone too far. The truth is pain stripped my joy. The truth is pain shouldn't have done that. The truth is one thing, one caress can light my sun. The truth is the future starts here. The truth is the great outdoors soothes my soul. The truth is when turning away from condemnation, I feel love. The truth is I promise you I will just try. The truth is nothing is impossible. The truth is I'm in control. The truth is I like that insight. The truth is I am human. And the truth is I am you. Thank you, and apologies for the loss of the train of thought. I think it's because it's a list poem. I always struggle with it, well, not always, but sometimes. So the next one was written using song titles of Pink Floyd, and I said we're going to get away from the darkness, but we're not fully getting away from it just yet. There's a number of things people like me who, when they're in bad spaces, do to try and cope with that. You know, if you're very wise when you're very young, you immediately get some help. I wasn't very wise when I was very young, so I self-medicated, starting with cigarettes, moved on to drugs, which at the time was weed. Thank God there was nothing else available. At different times in my life, I've taken too many drugs, drank too much, and gambled too much. Thankfully, I've never ended up in any kind of problem, but that's my story. When I went to write a Pink Floyd song title, what I do is I Google all song titles by, in this case, Pink Floyd. You get it listed in my copy, and then I paste them, and I start scanning down through them, and I just pick out song titles that appeal to me, maybe 25, 30 of them, and then I start putting them together in a way that appeals to me. If there are any Pink Floyd fans in the house, I don't want you to be offended. When you start reading down through Pink Floyd song titles, it takes you about 10 seconds to realise they took an awful lot of drugs. I mean, an awful lot of drugs, right? So I thought, oh, we might have a drug poem here. And then there's a song title, because they're alphabetical, when you get down to the S's, there's a song title called Stoned Alone. Sure, the rest, as they say, it was meant to be. I did not, however, in any shape or form, drawn memories of an 18-month period between the ages of 18 and 20 where I was completely stoned. I didn't do any of that. There's none of that in this poem. It imagines a day where you're stoned alone. So Stoned Alone, after Pink Floyd. Daybreak. Celestial voices speak to me of 3 wishes in any colour that you like. An old woman with a casket of baby blue apples and oranges, 4 flaming flamingos learning to fly the Milky Way, green onions in the white of the eye of the vegetable man. Kettle on. Let's roll another one. Morning. Rising like young lust on a sweet July day, sunshine, while waiting for the worms, remembers a day things left unsaid, wish you were here, I really love you, drifted away on a pillow of winds the colour of infinity. Kettle on. Let's roll another one. Work. Calling, hey you Sisyphus, one of my turns, power failure, brain damage, mother, be nice if I stayed home again. 4 seconds of silence. You're impossible. Ha 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 ha. Kettle on. Let's roll another one. Afternoon. Loop message from the radio guy. The goal it's in the gnome, the goal it's in the gnome, the goal it's in the gnome, the gnome it's in the goal, the goal is in the goal, the gnome is in the goal, gnome, the goal it's in the gnome, the gnome is in the goal, it's in the goal. Breathe. 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 Kettle on. Let's roll another one. Tea time. Beset by creatures of the deep, the tide is turning sea, shell and soft stone, ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. An octopus breathes in effervescing air while marooned seabirds seesaw a 12-bar crying song across empty spaces. The universe is obscured by clouds. Amazing pudding. Kettle on. Let's roll another one. 5:01. Looking through the knotholes in Granny's wooden leg, I see several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave while grooving with the picked paranoid eyes go round and around, round and around, round and around, round and around, while the happiest days of our lives sleep in a saucer full of secrets. More amazing pudding. Kettle on. Let's roll another one. Sunset. Two sons tune up an unknown, unsung, untitled song. An old woman with a casket of flaming flamingos, baby blue apples and oranges learning to fly, gold in the eye of the gnome in the green, onion in the white of the eye of the vegetable man, candy and a currant bun. Kettle on, let's roll another one. Night. 4 minutes sleep eclipsed by the mortality sequence, confusion and corrosion, raving and drooling, raving and drooling, raving and drooling, paranoid eyes go round and around, round and around, round and around. There's no way out of here, there's no way out of here, there's no way out of here, there's breathe, breathe, breathe. Kettle on, let's roll another one. 5:06 a.m. Sleepy, comfortably numb, I give birth to a smile. Daybreak. Rise and shine sunny side up across the baby blue universe, morning glory, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. Behold the temple of light, a great day for freedom. What a psychedelic breakfast. Kettle on. Let's roll another one.
I'd like to thank Faye and I'd like to thank Stanley for their powerful and beautiful words of truth and love, which is always a wonderful thing to hear on an evening like this. Shane is about to play us out, and this is the end of the evening. Thank you very much for being here. It was wonderful as usual, and hope to see you again soon. Go for it.
Thank you. So a few things. One, I wrote this for tonight. It's about writer's block, and ironically I got writer's block while I was writing it. So it's kind of about that time, you know, you writers might know about it, 5 o'clock in the morning, you're still trying to work some words out, and you don't know if you're awake or asleep. You know? And this is, I said I'd write a song, which is kind of weird for me, so I don't sing. So, brother's a singer, you know, Stuart. But I'm going to give it a go anyway. It's called Muse. I don't know it yet. Can't find the words to rhyme with your mind. Can't dream a verse to let your quill glide. Can't catch a phrase to make this page fly. You think you see the wood for the trees. There's ink in your blood, it's how you breathe. Is this a love or is this a disease? Oh, candlelight yearning, faith in your learning, wordsmith in morning. Both ends are burning. both ends. Desperado when I watch seal scroll. Yes, afterglow will light us whole. This afterglow will light us whole. Yes, Desperado, won't you torch my soul? Quenches the night. In a flicker you feel the light. Oh, the flame blots out the night. Within a spark you begin to write your fate, your faith, your faith, your fate. You've lost something precious stone.